What is going on, Toy Fam? Ben Piper here from Project Piper Customs, and welcome to another episode of the Plastic Action UK podcast. And today we're going to be talking about backdrops, diodes, and a little bit of lighting. But joining me, if he builds it, you'll most definitely come. It is Tom Green from Tom's Dioramas. How are we?
Hello, good mate. Yourself?
Yeah, all good. And yep, sorry, Carl, no more Captain anecdotes. Unless someone who's watching this fancies putting some in the comments or just saying hello would be nice. But anyway, we have Mr. Ridge, Mr. Smallridge. It is Carl Smallridge, the Captain. Oh, Captain, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. You all right?
Yes, lovely. So today we're going to be talking about backdrops and what you can do to fill out your shot, whether it be a dio, a bit of poster board, or nothing at all. Just make sure it's not your bathroom sink. So so Tom, I'm going to go with you as you're the resident dio maker. So tell us a little bit about how you approach a shot and what you decide to use for your background.
I'll be honest, even though I build them, I generally don't use them.
Watching, guys.
I spend so much time building them for other people that I don't build them for myself.
Yeah, you don't actually, do you? Very rarely do you pop up and say, you know what, I've got a project going for myself, and this is what it is.
It doesn't happen. So the only time I really use them are either ones that I built when I started, or the odd shot that I take before I send them out. So I'm more getting used to using just props lately.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, you can't beat a good dio shot.
No, not at all. I mean, it's one of those things you invest in at some point, like I did as well with yourself. But I would say it's the one we were talking about before on the prop side of things, even on podcast episode 1, like the main thing we'll definitely suggest investing in, first of all, would be the prop side of things. You can never have some props, and that can fill out your shots just as well as anything else. And the dio will look empty if you don't have props in it. But in the long run, to play the long game, definitely at some point find yourself a good dio maker, and just invest in something small. Maybe start off with a corner piece like an alleyway, and then go from there, work up bigger throughout your entire.
That's it. You can't go wrong starting with like an alley or something like that. Something that you can use with a variety of figures.
Or the classic roof
general piece.
But this is rooftops. Even though I fucking hate building rooftops. Corner bits, just all those sort of little things.
Yeah,
you can add on to them later.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
and just even just like the one wall, if it's a close up or just a simple shot, you don't need much. And if you've got the idea that you've got in your head executed, the posing and how you want the characters that are going to be priming your shot set out, and by the end of the time you've got anything set up, there isn't that much left to fill in terms of a backdrop. It depends.
This is why a lot of people will think you need like massive dios, and a lot of the time you can get away with like a 12-inch square dio, because your shot isn't focused on the dio; it's focused on the characters, and 9 times out of 10 you'll just fill in up that little bit of background. You don't need a massive. I mean, if you're doing like a massive like fight scene with like 20 figures, you need something big, but generally you don't need to.
No, I mean, it's nice it gives that sense of depth, and I've seen some crazy ones where they've built like just when it's all lined up. I think I even saw one of Boogs where you had about 4 or 5 different dio pieces just layered, and he did an overhead shot, and the space between them was huge. If you've got the room, obviously you can pull it off, and then it's one of those things where you sort of get the camera together and it all just lined up like that, and it looked perfect. You took the camera away and just looked like an absolute mess on the floor. But for a sense of depth,
this is why you can constantly build on what you've got. So you'd have a corner alley, but then you could have another one built, and then you can have some buildings built that you can put behind it, and you can just build up. I mean, it can get to the point where if you've got the money and the space, but you say you can have a tiny little city set up.
And I've seen that happen a few times.
Yeah, but sometimes just something, just some poster paper in the background with some light on it, and it will do quite nicely, for sure. And we'll get into some examples of all of these things. But so Carl, how about yourself, dude? What's your ratio between dio shots to just having something simple in the background?
Me, I love using dios, just because I like doing film scenes. You see, and most of the times they've got some kind of they got some kind of dio really, or some kind of building, and don't get me wrong, you know, I'll have to do a roof shot with a piece of board on it, but it'll have a dio. Still got a dio in there. It's like the Ghostbusters, so you know you couldn't get away from that. You know, there's the hallway. You know, I had a hallway scene built, and it's a brilliant dio, and I've used it loads of times. But I just love having something to start with. Like, it gives me like a carcass, and then I can fill it, because I personally love taking the shot, and I love you know, because you just see that small area from the camera, but I love stepping back, and I've created the whole thing. And so many times I've done it. I've gone with the camera, and you can only go from one shot because you've only built from a certain angle, and it only works in a certain way. So now I try and fill the whole thing. I try and enjoy it. You know, it's like it's like being those prop designers for those films. You know, when they build the whole set and it looks amazing. I try and do something similar. Like when I did those hallway scenes with the Ghostbusters shot. Every single hallway was different.
So
it was the same building, but I just switching everything around so I could just so it looked fresh. But it was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I love doing it, you know. And I think, you know, with the I've got a rooftop dio, so I still use the piece of poster board at the back, but it's still got the dio, you know, with the bricks like shooting off the side. I just think most of the time I enjoy it. Using I have used the, you know, the white out at the back, or a piece of poster board or something. But for me personally, I just, you know, I'm not a dio builder, so I get someone like Tom or Louise Townsend, and I ask to build them. And as soon as they come, I'm like a kid. These are amazing. Like that's dio that Tom made for me, absolutely fucking amazing. You know, you don't have to take a shot. I could sit there and look at it and you think, wow, look at the detail. You know, we were talking to Ben earlier, and you know, from an angle, it looks like the Ghostbusters house.
Yeah, like if you move your side, exactly. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, it does a bit actually.
and you just think it's a shot, but
background.
It's now it can now be the ghost. They could be rounding the corner. If I get a sign to poke out the side, it's the fucking Ghostbusters house. You think that's amazing. I don't have to go and spend that fucking Playmobil one, which is what, like £100 or something stupid.
Right.
I've got a cool dio that'll do that.
Exactly.
I know I love them. And
figure that has the signage, and then boom, you're away you go.
Exactly. Yeah. And I can see where Tom's coming from. You know, he builds them, and it's just the last thing he fucking wants to do is build his own for free. But
who's gonna pay me? Me.
Yeah. Somebody who doesn't build them. I love what Tom does. I love what he does a brilliant job. And when he does ship them to me, they just look fucking amazing. For me, I love it.
Yeah.
But you make an interesting point as well between film shots and comic shots on when you can get away with a dio, when you can get away with just the poster board. You can get away poster board and things like that. You can get away a lot more with comic related stuff.
Outside, and stuff like that.
I did if you remember, I did a heist shot where they're walking past the shop and there's the policeman around the corner.
Yeah.
So I've got Tom's dio sort of on the corner, and then I also got some old dios are in the background. It looks like it's a part of a city street, and I love that. So why wouldn't you want to use that? You know, you spend the money, you get this quality sets. Yeah, I love using them, and I can see where Tom comes from, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. You know, I suppose you don't. Being a custom figure maker, you don't tend to make your own. You make everybody else's. What about you then, Ben? What do you prefer?
I'd mix it up, really. I do a bit of both. I love doing movie recreation scenes, utilising everything that I have at my disposal, whether it be a dio, pieces of a dio mixed in with poster board, or just poster board mixed in with some accessories, some like props. So say they fall under props, but they're more like environmental props, like rocks or columns or something like that. just to fill it out. And yeah, like mixing it up depends on what I'm feeling, depends on the shot really. If I'm going for something simple, like I'll get into example with my recent ones that I've been reviewing, those Marvel Legends, the thumbnails, I kind of used that space wall that I built, and there was just a wall with some, I'll say it was some WWE barriers and some straws just to represent some piping and some gantry stuff. I've got it here, and I just had it in the background at different angles. If I get it close, that's the way. Yeah, get my mic out of the way, and you can see it all then. So yeah, so as you can see, it's just I glued one set of you can hear me right. I glued one set of barriers here. It's just cardboard, literally all it is, just one big sheet of cardboard up top. Can you hear me right?
Yeah, spot, mate.
Move my mic away, yeah, so I probably sound a bit like this. Yeah, so we've got the WWE barriers upside down here, some here, and then just some straws, and I've got some metal straws so the piping can go down, and then these are just cable ties. So on the back I've just snipped them off and then painted the whole thing, and it just gave me some sort of space wall, and that could just be like in the background somewhere, you know, just fills it out a bit, and it's just one wall, literally all it is. And so I use that sometimes. Used it more recently, but then, like to say, white hot, people use a big sheet of poster board or a bit of paper and glue it up, and I've just got some of these, which is just like some foam backing, and yeah, with some good light on them, it will cut the seam off, and that's just yeah, and that will represent just a white hot or a sky. And I recently, because I know what a lot of people do to have a sky image, is obviously you get a bit of light blue poster paper, and I've got 2 giant sheets of it, and obviously they just rough in some white paint with some clouds. And
yeah, that's all I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a Toy Story, like Andy's room.
It is just like that. But trouble is, you got to realise it. No, you don't have to be fucking Picasso. It's going to be in the background. It's most of the time. Most of the time, if I put a light on it, it just fucking whites out anyway. But it's got like a hint of blue, so
exactly.
It's not the end of the world. But don't buy these fucking things. Just make them yourself. You know, it was just like I said, a bit of poster board with a bit of paint. Just slap it on the back and done. It wasn't. You know, it's not perfect.
And that could be like 90% of your backdrop, just for some few environmental accessories. So for those who are yet to invest in a Dio, but obviously plan to, for now, you know, you can pull off some great shots with just, you know, just some small things. Like we just discussed it with the sky, you can make yourself and just some poster paper, or you can build something as simple as like that space wall, which is just some WWE barriers off of eBay and some straws, and it's just a whack of paint, and it was a fun build and gets your creative juices flowing. It just gives you some options.
It could be as cheap or as expensive as you like it, can't it?
Exactly. And of course, with me in the Dio shots, the first one I commissioned was the rooftop Dio, obviously with the panels that it came with, and then obviously the building up top. It gave me a only range of options for a rooftop setting itself, but I've been using it, as they've been using as a backdrop in my YouTube videos, as like I can make an street alleyway, and fill it with rocks and rubbish and stuff. Just it works. You can build anything from it, and it works ideal for that. And I also had that was the first thing I commissioned from him. And obviously then I had the hallway itself, like yourself, Carl. You had a hallway. I got a hallway from him, which had a whole apartment to one side, and obviously a little turn, and it presented you with an elevator door and a whole elevator as well. And
that was fucking massive.
Yeah, it's huge up. And the ceiling, obviously you don't have to worry about covering up your roof. It had that and some lighting options, and that you can, you know, the amount of ideas and stuff that you can put forward to that. It's brilliant. Have some, like, you know, when you've got the figure here, and then you've got shit going on in the background, and he's peeking around the corner, but the prime figure in focus is right there. People just generally, like, I'm going to do a couple of John Wick ones where I'm going to try and pull off where the cop knocks on the door and he goes, "Hey, you working again, John?" And then just have some dead bodies behind him. Just random shit. The more options you have that you can get together, the more ideas for shots will flow.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, you say you don't need to go absolutely nuts. Like, for instance, me Kingpin Spidey shot, the way I approached that, because I only needed was Tom, actually I lied, there's a third diorama which Tom did send me, which was the space prison that he'd built himself.
Oh yeah, yeah. That you're meant to be finishing.
they weren't meant to be finishing, but there was one giant section, and it just had some grooves in it, and just painted grey. And for that Spidey shot, I just set the whole thing up, and literally the only portion of the backdrop needed was just that, and a little one of these brick side panels of the rooftop dial on top, and then boom, that was all I needed in the background.
So what was your first dial that you had then?
For me, was the rooftop, which is huge rooftop. I approached him. I said, "Yeah, just give me something." I just basically said, "Look, here's a budget. Go absolutely nuts." I was looking for like Batman style rooftop, with an office building on top, some sort of like room where you could have multiple things going on inside. And yeah, as soon as that come, like you said, Carl, it was literally like a kid in Christmas.
It is,
It all set up, just taking pictures left, right, centre. Ideas were flowing, and it was awesome. And I need to do another rooftop. As I said, I think I said it last time. Haven't used it as a rooftop for a while.
Yeah.
I've just been assembling it into different areas, like mainly street stuff.
But again, that's the beauty of them, that you don't have to use them for what they're intended. You can mess around with it.
Yeah. The very base of that rooftop, if I get myself in focus again, it will do that. I've used as just a floor for shit, and obviously as I've had blood on it, blood stains, and it's just a little bit more beaten up than it was when you first sent it. But again, all it needs is just some paint over it, and it'll be fine. But just it works as a big floor area, so I've got a floor area to work with, and you can cover anything up. With
it's definitely good to have a big floor area to work with. I use this here. It's a huge piece. It's just because I've got loads of the kebab skewers. Walls and things. It's good because you can really dig them in there, and they hold up so much. And especially when you've got like characters running, you could just sounds like
just a well placed
cocktail sticks, and stuff like that. Because you gotta have a good assortment of sharp objects, I think, to do this hobby.
Yeah. No, for sure. There's a few puncture holes in there just where I've had wires sticking in and stuff like that, and
this is the same here.
Yeah, you can. It's just a little bit more black wash, and then boom, they're covered again, and so it's all good. But yeah, I'm a utilizer of both of the poster backgrounds. I bought from Hobbycraft literally just an entire pack of A3 different multicolored sheets, which had yellow, orange, red, blue, and I would pin them up in the back and have a light. Lighting up the backdrop is 100% definite. And so it eliminates all shadows and stuff like that if you're just going for a poster backdrop. But yeah, just a variety of options. But what I used to do actually before I bought anything like poster backgrounds or dios was the NECA figures, because I started collecting NECA. That's what got me started first of all. They used to have a little pull out in their packaging. Granted, it had little folds in it, but I used to use those because it had an image of what I was wanting to shoot with it, like a Predator. It would have like an image of the ship or the jungle, and in the early stages of my toy photography used to be some of those. And I've still got a whole plethora, just a whole big pile of random little cutouts from NECA packaging that I used to use.
You used to get those a few Figmas, didn't you? I remember some Figma Figmas. They came with things like that. So what about you, Tom? What was your first dio? Made or bought or?
The first one, I've just put a photo in the group thing to look at, is the Queen Industries little dio corner thing that I built.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I see that,
the Queen Industries alleyway.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, that.
Literally the first thing I ordered some foam off eBay.
Yeah.
And built that. And you can see, if you look up in the top corner, you can see a big hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where I didn't realise that normal glue melted foam. That was a learning curve right there.
Oh no!
That's when I discovered the joys of hot glue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You nailed the brickwork, and that was your first time doing brickwork.
No, the first time I've done anything at all.
Oh, yeah, the doors.
That plaster at the bottom is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a wicked thing.
So it came out all right. I mean, I look at it now and I'm like, fucking, I could do 20 times better than that now. But at the time, I was pretty pleased with it when I first did it.
I can imagine.
So that's basically where I started. And I'd literally done that because I had nothing else to shoot with.
No,
At that point, I was literally just taking photos of figures with nothing.
Yeah. And self shots and...
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to like fucking mess around. I'm just going to try and build one and see how it goes. And that was it. It all started from there, and I haven't stopped since.
We've got here the Superman in an exit alleyway as well that you've sent over.
Yeah, like that was like a warehouse interior thing. That was like literally the second one that I built.
Yeah.
I finished that, the Queen one, and then I was like, I'm going to do inside of it. Basically, because I didn't know what the fuck else to build.
No,
so I done that. And I look at that now, I'm like, fucking Jesus. Like, it's fucking awful.
I think the thing's alright. It's great.
Look at
your first one was really good though. I thought the first one was really good. Second one, you're like, yeah, I can see where you've improved a lot.
Yeah, I tried to make an opening door that didn't work because you can just see big gaps in it.
Yeah.
And the colours it's all basically one colour. There's no variety in that whatsoever. So you try and take a shot on it and it's just grey. Like there's nothing else there. So that didn't last very long, that one. I think that got recycled into another couple of little bits.
Oh, really?
But
you still got your Industries one, though?
I'm sure that's still in the loft somewhere.
Oh, that's good. It's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, definitely about keeping your first one.
Yeah.
You just end up reusing stuff.
Yeah, fair play. What about you, Carl? What was the first piece of diorama you bought?
The first piece I did was I made my first piece. And
Right.
It was a wall.
You don't like, you know, I was about to say, you say you don't make them. Bullshit, you got some made. You have.
I do. I'm not very good at it. That's the problem. You know, and I spend ages, and you think, oh yeah, you know, that really looks really good, and then you see someone like Tom, and you go, fucking hell, mine's so shit. Why do I try? Why did I spend 4 days making fucking bricks when I could just just don't? But that's my first one. Was this one?
I like the graffiti.
It's all hand painted.
I should hope so.
So yeah, I went online and I saw some of Banksy's art and tried to get some urban graphics.
Yeah.
So,
I can see that. The man and the little man, definitely Banksy-ish.
Yeah, definitely. And I just got lots of little pictures, and these are the newspapers you buy off eBay, the newspaper kind. So I got loads of those bits and just stuck them on there. Tom said, oh, my first time I found, you see this hole? Do you see all this speckled effect? You can. I don't know if you can see all this sort of really sort of brick effect.
Yeah.
See all the brick effect? Well, see, I didn't know, but spray paint eats foam. So when I'm spraying over, going, yeah, base coat, and it's eating it, you're going, fuck. Don't eat it all. It didn't turn out too bad, but I did learn from that. That I shouldn't make things like that because I'm absolutely awful. But that was my first one. First one I made.
Yeah. No, you can get away with primer, but not spray paint.
Yeah, I've been there with spraying.
I just didn't realise. It was literally 2 inches away as well. When I get a good layer on there, just fucking spray it on. Yeah, it's just when it starts dissolving, you think, oh shit, I spent ages making bricks.
You become Cleveland from Family Guy. No.
That's it. So that was my first one ever. I made that one, and then my second one I won it in a competition.
Nice.
An action figure trading community, United Kingdom. So that was my second one. I was thinking it was the Louis. So this is my second one.
Yeah, I watched a few of Louise's YouTube videos actually after I saw Al's figures ones. Oh yeah. So it's a shutter door.
Yeah, and it does come with a base, but that's that there. And,
Louise is a hell of a maker.
So much. Sorry.
Louise is fucking brilliant when it comes to dials.
I've got a few of hers. She's definitely brilliant at her art, and So when you win that, you just think, fucking hell, this is so much better, and the quality is so much better than yours. You think, oh, I'm gonna have to get someone to make these. Hence the reason I got you, Tom, to make my last one.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, otherwise I look at it and think, oh yeah, do you know what I want? I want this big building. I want it to look like a shop. I'll make it. I'll spend a week doing it. It will look shit, and I'll bin it, and then I'll buy one anyway.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's not from what I've seen, there's only a handful of diorama makers in the UK. Whereas you go, obviously in America, you have the big ones like Chris Lyons and Alice Figures, and there's a whole slew of people out there making really good dios. Even in the Matt Morlock, you know, rest in peace, Matt Morlock, bless you. He was a diorama maker and made some awesome pieces, and it's like you got a whole range of options of people you can mix and match from, and like obviously from Louise, Tom, yourself, and then Sammy. I don't see many UK ones, you know, UK dio makers. So
Paul Humphreys is quite good. I've got one of his. I've got a roof.
Yeah.
Who? Sorry.
Yeah, Paul's
Humphreys.
good.
Oh shit! Yeah, I don't know that one, so I apologise. I don't know.
He made this one here. He made my I think Paul made this one. If he hasn't, he'll soon tell me.
Nice. That's really, really good.
So the with the 1939 sort of reference to the Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he made that one. I think he'd made one previously, and then and I said to him, "Oh, that's really good. Do you make me one?" And he goes, "You're the fifth person to ask." You know, he said, "I gotta say, I gotta stop this." I said, "Oh, well, make me the last one, and I'll be fine." And it was. I think he had to make after he made that one. I think he had like a big run on like 5, and I assume those things don't take 5 minutes to make. So. Yeah.
That's why I can imagine why you don't like making anything with brickwork is having to repeat the same process over and over again.
Yeah. Nice neck.
Sorry,
He's got more neck than E.T.
Oh dear. Hello.
Sorry, carry on.
Hello, mate. Hello, you alright? You join us?
Yeah, I may as well.
So it's like as me, like being a customizing figure customizer. Sorry, if I make something, I dread having to repeat my own work. It's kind of one of the reasons why I don't do commissions. But it's like if someone requested, "Oh, can I have that?" Then I want that too, and I want that too. And it's like repeating your own work, knowing it's not going to be exact same as the one you just made before. And it's just one of those things I haven't got round to processing in my head and getting over it. But yeah, the thought of having to redo your own work tons and tons of times. I can imagine that's why brickwork drives you insane, Tom.
Yeah, rooftops.
How many have you made now since you started? You can remember?
Not as many that should annoy me as much as they do, but only about like 5 or 6 probably. But I seem to go through a run of doing nothing but them for like weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, just to flex your creative muscles.
Yeah.
No, that's fair play. So yeah, I mean, with the 3 that I have from Tom, I have obviously put forward a commission for Tom for the turtle sewer. So that's we're in the works on that. We're working together and figuring out what it's going to look like, and that's going to be awesome. It's going to be huge.
Oh yes,
it's going to be wicked. I can't wait to just play with it and put some figures in, shoot the fuck out of it, and it'll be awesome. So yeah, it's there's more on the way, but yeah, and as I was saying, going back before, there isn't that many of us in the UK to choose from, so I'm happy to make Tom my exclusive.
Yeah. No, it's a very small scene.
It is
in the UK, especially now Louise seems to be out of it as well.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame because I really enjoyed watching the videos and stuff, but I didn't realise that they were from way back when. So obviously, by the time I got round to seeing them, I think she'd already packed up shop by then.
Yeah, I think hopefully she'll get back into it again at some point because she's too good not to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely, she got definitely got a talent there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but so you're having fun with Tom's Dio behind you, then, Carl?
I certainly am. I had a chance to really do many shots out of it because it's like when you get a new figure, all you do is fucking shots from that figure.
Yeah,
and I'm terrible for it as well. You know, I got his diorama and I was like, fucking shot after shot, just the same fucking backdrop, just different angles. But for me, you know, you can see it permanently. Think, no, I've got to put it down. I've got to stop. Yeah. I've got to fucking move on.
Yeah.
And it's not even. And I've not even done one of the fucking shop. It's all been sort of like different bits. You know, it's got this really cool bit that goes over the top. You know, it's like the canopy. with you know, like a 7-Eleven sort of thing, and it looks amazing. But I've not even included that in the shot yet, and I'm really reluctant to, because as soon as I do, it's all you're gonna fucking see.
Yeah.
Because
You're not getting up.
it's just a brilliant shot, brilliant piece of kit. I love dials. They're just as good as, sometimes they can be just as good as the figures, you know, and they can really make or break a shot. You know, if you're using a character in a setting that he doesn't belong in, it can really sort of throw off a shot completely. So if you know, you got to use your, you know, you've got to use your head a little bit. And
imagination is definitely the key. One
definitely
thing I would like to touch upon is obviously for shadows, when shadows appear when you're lighting on a backdrop with a nighttime shot, as we couldn't highly recommend enough, a black towel will literally not reflect a single bit of light. So if you get your hands on a black towel, I bought a small bathroom one off eBay or Amazon, and so that's just handy. I can't pin it up anywhere, but I have. Yeah, I use this, which is just a bit of card wrapped in black tissue, and I drape the towel over that and then have that in the back, so it keeps it upright. But mainly for, like, if I'm doing a nighttime shot, and what's quite cool, because I've dressed my whole work area, which is directly behind the camera. I'm going to flick it over in a minute so you can see. If I can do that here, that'd be great. So flick it a Rooney, and so see, this is I've dressed it all with black tissue paper.
Yeah.
And sometimes even for a nighttime scene, if I have the subject quite close, the light, what does reflect on this, acts like sort of so it kind of like comes out as cloudish on a night sky, and that really came up well in the Spider-Man sitting on the cross. It was a tribute to Steve Ditko, and it was an angle, so all of this was very predominant in the background. But because some of the light was just reflecting on, like, say, this portion, and because it was out of focus, it kind of did look like some sort of just night smoky cloud, which is handy. So there's a bit of a production value there, but this just to help drain all the things out. And just some of these for the base, it's also where I do review, but this is kind of just the work area I work with, and then I'll set up the Dio here. I think I did one with the Nighthawk figure, and I made it look like he's like jumping off of a rooftop. So I had the whole, like, Tom had a bit of the office that he built on top of the roof, some here, and then I had the water tower and stuff laid down, all elevated, and then him up, and then with the camera just looked like it was jumping off of a building and towards the camera. So there's plenty of things you can do. Let me flick you back around now, if you'll allow me. There you go. Plenty of things you can do with a diode that doesn't have to be, you know, exactly what it was used for.
Yeah, no, I quite agree. And so your diodes have to be your phone, you know, you can get them crafted by people. But I bought a Muppet one. The Muppets bits, it seems.
Yes. Now that's a great thing with some of these figure lines. They come with some awesome setups and sets already, as Carl's demonstrating right now. The Muppet set, they're a bit hard to come by now, but look at that. That came as a box set. Okay. Oh, Tom's left the group. Why did you leave us, Thomas? He'll be back shortly. He's having a bit of a bad internet connection day. But go. So bring it in a little bit more, Carl. Show us what you got. So that's the lab. So is that Beaker's lab? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's just awesome. That came ready.
I got the Muppets in space. And changed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one here, I think it's just brilliant. I left this as it is. I think there's a blog in there, but it's just
the
pretty
details
good,
right there. You could get. It's got some things in the foreground for depth, and that came ready made, all fully painted and everything. It's obviously has a price tag on it, but it's beautiful, and this can be used for multiple different setups for anything laboratory wise. For
it's really good, doesn't it? And
it is, and it goes in scale too. So hopefully Tom will rejoin us shortly. But along with the Muppet set, obviously there's the infamous kitchen set from the Muppets, which gets used quite a lot. They're very, very, very hard to find, and when you do find them, they have a huge price tag. Yeah, very, very expensive. Yeah. But the Swedish Chef's kitchen set is very, very good. It's in scale, and
if you get hold of that, I if I could find that for a half decent price, I would buy it. It looks so good. I think I'm going to end up making my own and buying bits and pieces from you can buy those kits.
Yeah.
I'm just going to end up doing that because I can't afford that. Was it 100, £200 or something.
Nearly that, yeah. On the third market, it's gone for crazy money.
It has, yeah.
Which is ridiculous. But with beauty of making stuff yourself, there's obviously that sometimes come out not in scale, but with the dollhouse miniatures and the dollhouse accessories, and you can even get like wallpaper to set up your own. So if you just had a blank piece of card or foam board and you could just wallpaper it, boom, you've got some sort of inside of a living room already. There you go as a backdrop. Thomas is rejoining us. I hear him calling in. No? Well, there you go. Boom, Carl's demonstrating now.
And this sort of thing, I bought this from, I didn't buy it at all, into, I think it was, they've got wallpaper, you can kiss.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Nice.
And just because of wallpaper, obviously. And I thought, well, that'd be really good on a piece of glass. And that's what I did. I used it as wallpaper. So a piece of glass, piece of that either side. It's a bit ruined now.
Yeah, bang. I can see myself on screen in the reflection.
But it looks like if I was not looking out to the cityscape, you could have that as a luxury car or something.
Yeah, sure.
It's not quite a dial, but it's good, isn't it?
Absolutely. And like I said, the good thing moving on to glass, actually, because I have a plane, like if you go to a hobby centre or wherever your nearest hobby shop is and you go into their picture frame section, obviously you can get yourself a lovely tasty pane of glass. Now mine's stained to buggery because I've stuck loads of things on it, but the Frouche, I got this tip from the Frouche when he was doing some Star Wars setups to get a good glistening black floor, like the floor of a spaceship. All he did was spray painted gloss black paint on one side and obviously set it up on the other. And then boom, instantly you've got your own sort of really gloss black floor.
Yeah.
Which was great for Star Wars. There you go. Demonstrating it already. Let's see, we're reflective. Yeah.
You can see it. You can my shelves.
There you go. There you go. So there's so many different things you can use for a backdrop. It's ridiculous.
Good places to look is if you go onto Facebook, onto Marketplace, and just to see what people are selling. Some it was like a shelving unit with these glass drawers, and that's what these are. These are the glass shelving, and these are really thick. Can you see how thick that is?
Damn, that is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it holds up really well because I got from pictures, like you said, they're really thin.
Is it back?
You are back.
Oh, sorry, my internet's having a mess.
Welcome.
So I went onto Marketplace. Yeah. And I literally bought this unit, and it came with these bloody good, bloody shelves.
So I've just come on to a bloke that sounds like a farmer talking about the marketplace, and I'm just wondering if I'm at the same podcast. and that's where I bought my no
sheep, just cows, because it comes from.
Sorry, my bad.
And they were like £3, so they were absolute bargain. So you could start there.
Yeah.
If you're on a budget, as most collectors are, because the figures cost fucking fortune.
Yep.
Just check them out. See what you can find.
Yeah, for sure, man. There's definitely loads of places where you can pick up bits. Like our friend Simon, he picks up loads from an antique store. So you could hunt anywhere for different pieces. So like obviously, Tom, I know you just joined in. We were talking about glass and how glass can be good for if you spray paint one side and it comes up as a gloss floor or gloss background.
Yeah.
And obviously, Carl showed us one where he's wallpapered some. That looks like is that black painted or is that mirrored? Bit of both.
Bit of both. See.
Shiny like your head.
Wow, the polish.
Yeah. But like you can get clear sheets of perspex, like coloured perspex.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to buy like a sheet of black so I can do some Star Wars shots. Make a back wall, or buy some of the 3D printed back walls that some of the guys are doing now.
Yeah.
With just like a black perspex floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That look nice.
You know the ubiquitous set. I went and bought that in the end because
you bastard! I wanted that. I couldn't find it anywhere.
I'm surprised you managed to get it, like pronouncing it like that. I didn't know what the fuck you were on about.
Well,
It didn't light up, did
I can
it?
spell it. I can spell it, but I can't say it.
I like one of those Uber
Ubiquitous.
things.
Ubiquitous. That's what I found here. Fucking hell, I tell you, you guys take the piss some fucking chronic. Why I keep coming back here week after week?
The fucking Uber driver's calling you. You ordered it, bruh?
I understood him fine. So yeah, I went and bought that one in the end. So I think that's brilliant, you know, piece of kit, because like Ben said, there's quite a few guys out there who are selling like sort of the 3D printed bits, and they thought, wow, do you know, it's going to cost a fucking fortune if trying to buy all these panels and make up a backseat, because it's got to be at least A3 sort of size, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a bit going on the backward. There was ages ago, the Froosh, one of his reviews. I definitely recommend, if you're watching this, if you're not, go and follow the Froosh. He's brilliant action figure reviewer. He
nearly as good as us.
He brought up the company. I forget what it's called, but they made the Space Walls for Star Wars.
GTP, I think it is.
Yeah. And
Galactic Trading Post.
Yeah, Galactic Trading Post, and they made the kits of different space walls and different doorways to create the interior of the Death Star, and they look phenomenal. So I do like when independent companies come out and start pushing stuff like that.
Going on that, there is a company in the UK that I'm just trying to find now.
Okay, you see.
That I probably won't be able to bloody find because they're somewhere on my Instagram. When I find it, I'll say what it is. But they basically do the same thing, like 3D printed Star Wars stuff, and they do a lot of different. Like they do like the trash compactor Dio, like a 3D printed version of that.
Cool.
Like even like a moisture evaporator, like you got on Tatooine. They do like a 3D printed version of that.
Tatooine it is. Yeah, come around here, come around Tatooine. It's fucking somewhere in Wales, isn't it?
Star Wars might be set courses for Tatooine.
Yeah. Don't you be talking about accents, boy.
He's got a point, Carl.
Never got a clue what he means. I think he's talking about you.
He's alright.
I have a voice.
He sounds normal.
Normal? Not
you
around here.
You're weird.
Not around here. I suppose.
Oh dear. But yeah, now the 3D printing is taken off, which is really, really cool. And people are getting into their 3D printing bag, all these different designs. But going on to companies that are doing their own thing and helping the photography scene, there's no company we can't leave out, like Extreme Sets and what they've done for the game. Granted, they're American based, and it takes quite a lot of English pounds to get them over here, which will then lead into what Simon's doing. With Instaprint, but going off of what Extreme Sets have done, which is the cardboard backdrops, and you can create whole scenes, like apartments, deranged alleyways. What else have they done? They've done tons, haven't they? Extreme Sets.
Yeah, they done. I know they've done the subway and
subway tunnel,
haunted house, was it, or abandoned asylum, or
asylum hospital. Yeah, and it's all like cardboard sheets, and you fold them together, and then you got yourself a nice little backdrop. And of course, not being able to get them, there isn't a company over here that does something similar, but we do have our dear friend Simon Lindsay Instaprint, who makes he's done his own thing, and he's made them home printable, where he comes up with his designs, makes them himself, and he sells you the files, and you can just print them out yourself, and he teaches you how to lay them down on some card, and then bam, you've got yourself an instant backdrop. And it's a nice alternative if you're not in the market for a full-blown Dio, or if you're not on the budget.
It's a good one to, if you're not even sure if you want to use Dios. He's gone. Doing something like that is a cheap way to get into it.
Yeah.
And I will say my only criticism is you can quite often tell that they're 2D.
Yeah.
You don't have the depth.
Yeah. For sure. You definitely tell they're 2D. And just especially with the angle, especially with an overhead shot, if you're coming looking down, very, very obvious.
But you can get away with it in a lot of instances, and they look good.
For sure. And another one onto the cardboard thing, which we see quite a lot of in the ACBA in America, is the they get it from, I think it's Walmart or Target, and it's what you made one yourself. It's the cardboard black skyline with just those. And that nice little backdrop as a cityscape. We can't get those over here unless we have an American.
Unfortunately.
And it looks fucking bang on, proper bang on. And I can imagine it's. Well, I mean, making that. How did you go? What did you do, like in terms of designing the city part of it?
I basically got a big A3 sheet of the black poster board, the same sort of thing that you use for the flooring in your thing, but the black version, like just a thin 5mm foam core with the paper either side.
Yeah.
And I drew some buildings on it, just randomly, like just straight edges with the odd like little like spire and bits like that. Just cut that out, and then just cut the boring bit, strips and like just 1-inch strips of yellow paper.
The Milano
just loads of them, and just randomly glued them on, just to give you, some light.
Yeah.
Light behind it, and it actually came out fairly well. If I made it again, I'd make it smaller.
Yeah. Oh, is it quite big at the moment? Really?
That's my only issue with it. Is I think it's a bit too big.
Okay.
Which then makes it quite hard to get a lot of depth unless you go really far back with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
but what it does work out with is if I do a shot with just a black backdrop behind it.
Carlos, welcome back.
Hello, mate. Sorry, mate. You started talking and my computer went to sleep.
Oh, you sure it wasn't you went to sleep?
Oh, I just had a quick nap and thought, fucking hell, wake that fucking thing up. Takes ages to load back up again.
Is that what you call a nap nowadays?
Yeah.
Thinking of you.
Get up. Oh dear. No, we're talking about the You must have seen them Carwin shots as well, especially in American ACBA when they've got that black folded cardboard like cityscape with the yellow windows. I was talking about Tom's one that he made.
Oh, yeah, I've seen now. Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah. So the picture there with the Iron Spider is literally works. The size works well with it there because it's a black backdrop, so you can't actually see the buildings. You just see the yellow lights from buildings, so you kind of get away with the size a bit more. But I do need to make another one smaller. I kind of went a bit over the top.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get the depth.
It is. Yeah, they're very. I've seen them there. Some people haven't really. It's hard to try and light them so that it's not. No need the lights reflecting straight on it to obviously see it's a bit card, but then casting shadows on your other backdrop, whatever you'd use to be your style.
And I will say, why I prefer mine as opposed to those ones is this one's flat.
Yes.
Those ones are like, obviously they fan out.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like, if you get a good photographer, they work around it, no problem. Like you see a lot of the ACBA pictures with them are fantastic, but then you see others where you can just see it's bits of triangular paper spread across the backlight. The light's hitting it wrong, and it just doesn't look right.
You can see all the folds in it proper.
Yeah. The beauty, like, the good guy will cover that up, and you won't notice what it is.
Yeah.
So having a flat one takes that away. Like, I don't have to worry about trying to make it not look like that,
No, yeah, for sure. 100%. Should we get into some examples of the 30 things that we're talking about, actually? Some examples of, say, like a poster board, some white hot, and some shots with some dioramas. So let's ping up the group again. Okay, so let's do an example of... You sent some over, Carl, didn't you?
Yeah.
I see, yeah.
Yeah, let's start at the bottom and work out.
For sure, definitely going to be hitting your current...
I meant of the list that we've got them in, Carl, not as in quality, obviously.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy. Cheers. Can't sit back with fucking knives in it.
So first, definitely we'll have to kick into gear with Carl. Your latest shot with Ant-Man and the Wasp behind the coin is fucking awesome. So is this shot what background? I know you still got like a lot of like smoke. I'm assuming is that polyester or is that a smoke?
I've got a box of smoke somewhere. So I got my smoke box. This is just some teddy bears, you save from your kids. About.
Yeah.
I got them in there.
Nice. And what was the backdrop? Was it just a piece of poster paper with some light, or
it was actually the piece of blue poster paper, but I flooded it with. I did this job was done outside because I used a lot of baby powder.
Oh, for
And
the
I don't use baby powder inside the house. I learned that the hard way because it just fucking gets everywhere.
The infamous baby powder from Carl.
So, and of course, I want the smoke effect that goes across the front. Now, you can use a bit of polyester, but I think it can be a bit heavy. It's a bit of hit and miss. So I literally had the baby powder by it, but like the actual setup and the camera, just kept squirting and taking fucking pictures.
That's the title of your autobiography right there.
I accidentally came over that one there.
Oh dear, I'd buy that and read it on the toilet for sure.
I just kept squirting it and taking pictures.
See, different website, same saying.
So,
but yeah, there's nothing else. There's just that polyester at the background, just to give it that just a breach between the back and the forth.
Yeah,
that sort of separation.
That solid hard line can really throw off a shot if it's visible.
Yeah, I hate to see it in shots as well.
Yeah,
just you find something, prop.
Yeah,
or like a bit of building.
That line for sure. That's a perfect example, man, because it's very, all the focus is on the characters and the coin, and obviously it's representing an outside shot. So we've got, Carl said he's gone with the blue and a bunch of baby powder. Keep squirting it. Picture, friend. And the good thing is the cloud of the baby powder is kind of like it's hazing over the backdrop itself, so it's not even that visible.
But if you do it between the between the camera and the figure, you don't end up with fucking all over your set and all over your figure.
Yeah.
Because I learned the hard way when I did. I remember I did shot out of the car looking up from the film, and I was literally had the baby powder again, but I was putting it all over the set. And after a while, if you take fucking 20 pictures, blowing it fucking back off the figure, just so you can make them more. It just looks like fucking cocaine. You know what I mean?
Scarface did toy photography, yeah.
A crack out and a fucking explosion.
Say hello to my little friend. There you go. Hello, little friend.
Cleaning them all off is a ball.
Gets in everywhere, mate. Gets in everywhere. But no, that's a fucking awesome example of just a backdrop. Plain poster backdrop. Let's go into one of your dios. As you were saying before, let's go into your. Let's have a look at another one. Just quickly have a look at your other wasp shot with the white poster background and a dio. It's a combo of both, which is the wasp flying and shooting at the shield agent. And in case, as you can see, it's the poster background for the sky and a diorama in the foreground. So
I've got like a box of bits. I made some bricks and literally just painted them up. They look quite close, but they're not perfect. Obviously, the dio was really well made when I made the bricks. So just put a piece of the teddy bear stuffing. Like they've been blown off. It's not too bad effect. And again, the background just there to just for something there, isn't there? I didn't want to. I don't like whiteout shot. I mean, I like to have a small bit of. It makes it a bit interesting. Otherwise, it looks like you're just not your camera settings a bit off, and it's just you're just exposed too much. And I look at that I'm not comfortable with.
Fair play. All good. So we'll continue on with examples of the poster backdrop. We'll go look at Tom. So we're going to have a look at Tom's one. Let's scroll. And there's a great example here. We'll just go to the bottom with the Aquaman. The Aquaman on the rock.
Oh, yeah. And again, that's literally the blue poster paper. I have dabbed some clouds on it, but you can't. I've hit it with so much light you can barely see it, but you can see some at the top. Like it still gives a little bit of the effect. Like
there you go, yeah.
Looks good.
Then some rocks from the garden, which I've then got like again, one of those big bamboo skewers that Carl was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like wedged between two of the rocks and sticking up Aquaman's arsehole. Holding him in place.
Yeah.
And then some cling film out of the kitchen.
Which is a awesome water effect.
It's
Sounds like a night out with you.
you wish. But the cling film for water every time. As long as you get, especially if you get a bit of like, I've got some blue poster paper underneath it when I do it.
Yeah.
Just so you get a bit of the colour coming up.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can get blue cling, like the saran wrap sort of stuff, but just that's normal, like Poundland cling film, you know.
Yeah, because it's
a bit of blue paper underneath, and it works a treat.
No, it looks like where it's bunched up, it looks like it's the waves crashing. You know, it gets that white foamy stuff. So you got the blue tint coming through, and then obviously because the cling film bunches up in it, it's got a white hue to it, and yeah, it's like the waves are crashing around the rock. Jonathan Ross there. But yeah, I like whereas you got the light hitting the backdrop, and you can just see partially the crowds up top. It does look like just like mist from the sea, you know, and behind it. Which is all blurred out from the light. But yeah, that's a great example. Again, the poster paper really works well for the sky, and we've got obviously a Lilo and Stitch one. Same example here. We've got a Tamashii Nations wave effect mixed in with it really does look like waves here with the cling film and some more.
Again, that's it. You can really see the blue because of the angle of the shot. You can see the blue underneath it. So that's why you need that bit of colour.
Yeah,
blends really well.
I mean, I was surprised this one came out like it did in Venice because it's a lot of blue in one shot. Like
it is, from the figure itself to the backdrop.
Everything's kind of one cut apart from the surfboard, which kind of breaks it up.
And inside of his ear,
it worked somehow. I'm not really sure how it worked, but
it came together nicely. It did, man, and it just looks like he's surfing. It's all the Tamashii Nations are blending well. The wave effects there, and the cling film actually just looks like, especially just behind him on that left hand corner.
Yeah, that was. Like the first time I've used cling film for water was in this shot, and I've tried to do a few shots since then just because I enjoyed doing this one so much. So it's a great, and again, it's a cheap way of doing it. A bit of £2 poster paper, £1 for a bit of cling film, and I mean you can get the Tamashii effects for like 14-15 quid, but you could get away with. You could use cling film for that if you wanted. I just used the Tamashii effects because I had them.
Yeah, exactly. You could bunch up the cling away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, like for £3, you can make a water shot. You know. Yeah,
this is everything is extremely doable on a budget, and you can produce some awesome art. Here on your Catwoman shot, jumping off the building, you're utilising a glass technique. I actually really like the shot.
I didn't get the focus quite right on it. It's my only downside to it. Like the face isn't quite
focusing on her tits, Tom.
Yeah, basically. I was trying to say it without sounding so crude, but yeah,
I won't get away with that.
Nah, it's focused on her tits instead of her face.
My man. So I love it. It's just...
But it still shows how you can use the glass technique.
For sure.
just focus it better, and it'll work.
Don't worry, we'll move off of the tits. But yeah, with the sky in the background, that really does look like a sun is setting kind of thing because you've got some sort of red hue going on with the clouds. It's really good.
That was just playing with the camera settings and getting like a warmer, tint on it instead of having it too blue. Just bringing it up the other way. Messing with the white balance a little bit, just to get that effect. And again, it's just a sheet of glass. I think that was actually a sheet of glass out of my detail. Just took a few figures off and whipped one of the shelves out.
Yeah.
And just stuck it between two rooftop diode bits.
Perfect. This is a great.
Was that?
It's a great way to have a figure elevated off the ground without the use of a flight stand or trying to hide a flight stand.
Resorting to Photoshop.
Yeah, exactly. This is a tangible way of doing it. Obviously, the challenge with the glass technique is trying to eliminate any reflectiveness of the surface.
That is a bitch.
I've yet to try on something like this. I've only done it when I'm trying to illuminate effect from underneath. So I have it off the ground, but trying to do this, I've not yet had the balls to give it a go. Just because I haven't got.
It's a nightmare.
But
if you can put it if you get it right,
yeah,
it can create fantastic. Like look at some of Simon Hill shots that he does.
Yeah,
with the glass, and Brandon from Posable Productions, the shot he done a couple of days ago with the Batwing.
Yeah,
was a really cool one.
Last episode we were talking about him and saying he hasn't really done much, and lately he's been pumping them out, and they've all been
Yeah. I was chatting to him the other week, and I think actually giving him a shout on it then gave him a bit of a creative boost.
I'm glad.
And he's just been slamming out some quality pictures since then.
Yeah, fire again. The king of the Batman animated stuff.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I think it helps if you love what you love your genre, don't you? If you look at it's just in your pictures, you know, some of the I've seen some like Iron Man shots, and I'm not a huge Iron Man fan, but not necessarily the whole sort of comic book character, and I just couldn't that I was really comfortable with. But Ant-Man Wasp fan, Ant-Man fan, and I enjoy doing it, and I think it just shows your passion can really show in your shots, can't it? I think.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're a massive fan of one particular franchise, and if you're a toy photographer as well, you will not put up a shot involving that franchise unless it's absolutely money in your eyes, just to do it justice.
Yeah,
I think Brandon's doing that.
You'll extra mile and do that extra grind. You'll grind out an extra day. You'll go, oh, for fuck's sake, I've left this already. But you'll go, do you know what? I just might come back tomorrow and do this because it's you just want to do it justice, don't you?
Big time. It's the same with me and the Turtles recreations. Like, there's no way I will get it looking as close as possible with everything I have, and I won't settle for anything less unless it gets away from me. So,
but I mean, there are a certain I would put Brandon in the league of certain people like Simon Hill that it kind of doesn't matter what they're shooting, they make it work.
Yeah.
You could give them a fucking piece of shit figure from Poundland, and they'll get a shot out of it, and you're just like, "How the fuck did you do that?"
Yeah, make it look yeah.
Whereas the rest of us mere mortals are all struggling away, annoyed that our SHF hasn't got quite enough angle pivot, and then they're just smashing out shots with fuck knows what light. So
yeah, they're killing it, absolutely killing it. Going on to completely forgot. Backdrops. One thing I do sometimes enjoy if I'm going for something really different is printing out a piece of scenery. And I normally A3 doesn't always cut it, so I have to try and really work my shot in that one piece of paper. If I could get A2 size, it'd be even better. But for a couple of examples, if you remember off the top of your head, I'll insert them here. One I did was Alex gave it a bump on ACBA Group. It's my Thor panel. With the lightning in the background, literally just a print out. And I've got some here, which are here. And this is one I did for my Fortnite Deadpool. So I printed out a Fortnite background and tried to...
that came out really nice.
I was just struggling to try and get that blended in with the grass that I had, but it was very, very difficult. Again, light reflecting, and where it's rolled up, it gives us, there's some wrinkles on the paper. But I keep a few of these on deck. What was this one? That didn't work out well. That was meant to be a Street Fighter arm and another printout. But I have a few of those. So the lightning one was for the Thor background, and just with some light from above. And had enough distance between that and the figure, and it just looked like he was summoning it from all around him. So definitely printing out something.
It was. I mean, I've done it a couple of times with a couple of shots I just put on there. The Batmobile shot that I did, which was like a Hot Toys Batmobile, just a little like that sort of size Batmobile, and then I printed out the Wayne Manor from the animated Batman series. Yeah, just cut on a bit of A4 paper because I've only got A4 printers basically, so it works better when you do it on smaller scales. Yeah. So it worked out well there because it just looks like Wayne Manor in the background. I had a cutout of a moon as well that I printed out and stuck that behind it, and just had it like he's driving away,
Yeah, so, he inspired quite a few of us to try and recreate that.
Between that one and then I've done it the same for a Minimate shot with Bruce Wayne from Batman Begins. When I just printed out like the mountains and like the temple and everything behind. So printing out stuff really does work.
Yeah, absolutely. For it works for different scenarios you have, would it be outdoor and getting a blend right. Another one, for example, was me Iron Man 1 shot where he's coming out the cave.
Yeah.
I had the cave opening as a printout, and because it went up as all the stony gravel came down to the end of the shot, I then bought a load of like little tiny sandstones and filled my whole base. That was messy. When you get playing with actual like nature shit, it gets messy.
I remember you doing that. That was
that was hard work, and it did blend in quite well actually. It just disappeared into there wasn't much left of the edge where the backdrop met the floor, and what there was, it kind of blended in well. So yeah, with printouts, definitely of different backgrounds, they work just a treat. So we were looking at your glass technique, and so so I see that there, your Batman one, you've got an example. That's brilliant. That's class. Just looking at the examples that Tom has just displayed for us with the Bruce Wayne, the printout, and the Batmobile, that looks great. Who started off this kind of craze of doing this similar shot? Was someone did?
Simon.
Was it Simon?
Yeah, Simon did.
Simon.
With what?
Did you do one couple as well?
Yeah, I put one up, but just after, I think
I'd done the Batmobile one. I'd done this one, then Simon done his one afterwards, and then I think you done your one, Carl.
Yeah.
And then Ben done one. Like, we've all had a little go at a Batmobile shot.
Yeah. The guy just set a craze of it.
Again, everyone's been different.
Yeah.
So
with different Batmobiles going on, settings.
It's great to see other people do similar shots.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot. I know a lot of people get a lot of flack. Try and recreate a shot from a cover or something that somebody's done, within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But they get a lot of flack for it. But I think it's great to see how other people see, look at a shot and then try and recreate it. I know that you get some of the names and they did a shot and you try and do something close to it and they end up shitting all over it because they think you're copying. But I did that huge coin shot. About 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that. But I messaged beforehand, look, I didn't get the inspiration from your shot. I got the inspiration from this picture, where you got both of them. I was waiting until I got the figure arts lost before I tried it because I can't stand that figures. So and he said, do it. Just taking a picture of the post out so I can see it. I was really enthusiastic about it, and it's the kind of guy he is.
My end a bit, Carl. Sorry, mate.
I can't hear much.
Yeah, I don't know if it's your connection or
it's probably just
your voice or
your accent just ain't agreeing.
yeah,
probably.
But no, like you say with the coin, it's. I mean, some people can just have the exact same idea and pull it off differently, and that's when the confusion can come in. But at the end of the day, it's like no one's copying anyone. If anything, if they have seen your shot first, they're using it as inspiration. Especially if they shout you out. If not, it's just someone else doing the take. It's very hard to come up with an original idea.
It's great to inspire other people as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
but this is it. But it's a lot. You're inspired, like the Batmobile shot. I was inspired by the Batman film.
Yeah,
and everyone that has taken that shot since hasn't been inspired by mine. No. They might have got an idea to take that shot from mine, but they've been inspired by the Batman film.
Yeah. It's a great film, and it's an iconic moment. It's going through the trees and all the leaves are going everywhere. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's got a different Batmobile, different go around it, and it'll be a setting from. Just have fun with it and make it your own. Yeah, maybe the same similar concept, but the shot will come out completely different.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that you see someone literally blatantly rip off someone else's work. There are examples of it. It does happen 100%. I know it's happened with you as well, Tom. Someone's ripped off your work easily.
Yeah. But I mean, it happens. A lot of the time you just got to take it as flattery. But
100%.
It's life. It doesn't matter.
No, it's not worth dwelling on too much. Just move on, get another shot, and create some more fire. Yeah, but it's great to be inspired though. And yeah, I'll always, if I'm one of my shots is inspired by someone else's, I'll definitely talk to them and shout them out at least for sure.
Yeah.
And even drop it in the comments, so this was my inspiration. So we are looking at, so that's all of the white background ones. I'm just going through them all. And your King Kong shot, obviously, Tom, is another example.
Oh yeah. So the same with the rocks and the background.
Yeah.
A little bit of water. Just again, it just shows that you don't need much,
No, 100%. So we'll roll on to the ones I've done with just a white background. So a couple of examples. One, and it's an example where you can see where the ground meets the backdrop. I haven't covered it that well with the car, which is the Ant-Man stopping the car with a bunch of Matchbox sticks. So I'm turning this basic Marvel Legend into trying to be a giant man size. And I had a bunch of these Matchbox cars from my childhood, and I still had them. All the boxes are pretty much mullered, but they've been kept around as a collector's thing. And I thought, fuck it, I'll utilise these in the shot a bit. So I just had him, the bad guy's obviously in the Ferrari, and he's gone, no, you stop right there. So this literally just, I found just a bit of a poster board with some lights on it to illuminate. And that's all I needed, really. I wish there's a little gap there where you can see the backdrop meeting the floor, but that was just car placement. And then you got some polyester creating some of the debris and dust and smoke coming from the car.
Yeah, I think with that, you've got so many colours going on, and it's so in your face, you can't really notice that. Like, your eye's not drawn to it.
No.
And a lot of shots, you might be drawn to that little line, but this is the last thing you look at.
Yeah, no, for sure. I tell you what, the most challenging part of this photo was trying to angle the cars in a way where it wasn't obvious that no one was driving them.
Yeah.
That was extremely difficult, trying to get them all covered up a bit. But I just had a piece of wire sticking up, holding up the car. Ant-Man it was a bitch to balance. It took a while to balance him, but it got there in the end. So that's literally just a simple shot with a white background, just a simple idea I had, and I was happy with the result.
It came out great.
Appreciate it, mate. And go to another one, which is going on from a different coloured sky, and this will probably work or be classified more as a comic book shot, which is the Hulk punching Ryu. And here I'm utilising quite a lot of the environmental props, along with basically I'm using a yellow backdrop, kind of like a midday sunset kind of feel, and I've got two of my lights beaming down on the top of it, so it kind of looks like the sun lighting up the sky, and it's getting darker as it goes down. And it's quite a distance away, so none of the accessories are causing any shadows. But it's kind of like just some sort of industrial building site that they're fighting in. And I've used the Matrix pillars to frame it. And I've got a couple of the Tamashii Nation's ground impact rocks. The ground impact itself is on Ryu, and the rocks are just hidden on wires, out of place. There's debris going everywhere. And another one of Tom's little diorama walls, which is the half broken wall there. And just some crates and a bit of a wire fence, and that's pretty much it on this one. But I will show you what lights I use. I'm going to flip it around again, and it is. So I've got these two here. These are battery powered annoyingly, so they're not always holding charge. But basically, I just had those angled, beaming down onto the poster paper, and creating that light. And then obviously I had some desk lamp here and desk lamp here, aiming at it. But yeah, those two are the ones I use to drown my backdrops with light if I'm using a poster paper backdrop. And they've got three settings. They've got 3 dull modes. So they can go like dull, mid bright, and then bright again. So had them fully charged, and that's what hit the Hulk shot down there. And then purely with the Thanos one, which I'll bring up now. Again, just white, just a white hot background. It actually lost a bit of light towards where he down at the bottom there is all the lights flooding at the top, and so it kind of gets a bit grey towards his feet, but the focus is really on the meteorite pieces coming down towards him. I'll flip my camera back around now, so you can see my beautiful face. Okay, So there are examples of just a simple poster paper background, and now let's pull up some ones going back to the bottom of what you can do with a diorama. So Carl, you just shot one here, and that's your Harry Potter shot being knocked over by a bunch of kids.
Yeah. I use the glass effect on this one.
Oh yeah.
For the books, you see.
Oh, I see. Yes. So you got the glass in front, and the books are just attached to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just use this diode for that one. It's just those cut out so you can pour the light through, so it can sort of act as more of a backlight as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Up there. Just it was one.
When you've got I see when you're trying to illuminate through a window. What I used to do as well, try and do, was actually have the light coming through the window, and I realised that was wrong because it didn't give you that full illumination. So what I'd have is like one of those, one of these behind the window, and have the light beaming onto that, and then that would light up and then shine through the window. That would be the way I'd get full illumination. But yeah, so it's just one piece of a dial wall then you got there.
Yeah, was it? Just pretty simple. Aspect on that one. It's quite a long piece of wall, so I'd let's like going through sort of bright, and yeah, so I just left that on that way. The also gives the two girls in the background. Otherwise, it's a little bit flat. And the overhead light sort of coming down, so it would sort of give Harry more backlight and for them.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, it's massive. It filled the whole set pretty well.
Yeah, and the other one I did was the Wasp. You know, where they're doing the fist bumping.
Sorry, you broke up a bit there. Sorry.
The shot I did was the hallway with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh yes, gotcha. Yeah.
So I used my whole hallway dial one. The door at the back's open, and used a piece of sort of wall of the dial right at the back to give some like view that you're looking for. And then I've also got looking, just peeping through the door with the piece of dial. Hey?
It's like the interior of an apartment, but you got there just a little crack at the door and shows inside.
Yeah. Well, I wanted it to be completely different from the dial down the bottom, so I wanted a completely different feel, and that's hopefully achieved.
Oh, your sound is really distorted now. Oh, Tom's left.
Yeah, Tom's gone.
Oh, Tom, where are you? We'll be back. Yeah. No, that's fair play. So I will. Yes, that's come out. That came out really well. I love the depth in that too. That one.
Yeah.
That's quite nice.
No, it's one of my favourite shots.
Yeah, for sure, man. And the same can be said with your Ghostbusters one, with the different styles of the different corridors, sort of like the different floors that they're on. Obviously, you got the carpet, and you got just little accessories that changed up.
Well, that was just a carpet tile that we had with my mother's house, and she has carpet, like in the attic, really well installed.
Yeah. Carpet tile. I didn't even think of that. I just thought that was part of the diorama. I didn't think of carpet tile. Just have it on top. That's perfect. Actually, you can't even see the. Oh, Tomo, you're back. There you are.
Battery
change location.
Wasn't paying attention to the battery.
Actually, I've got to pay attention to mine. Mine's dropping like crazy. Why isn't that charging? There you are. Now it's charging. So that came out really well. The carpet tile, genius idea. So there you go. A diorama on top of a carpet tile, and you've given yourself a carpeted floor.
Well, for the hallway scene with Ant-Man and Wasp, I used I went into the range and bought, those table mats you can get. They're like woven.
Okay.
Yeah, like this.
Oh, let's clear the photo down. Oh shit! Okay, yeah.
One of those, yeah, and that's all I use for the for that, because it was just ideal, isn't it? I want something to give it some more of a really cheap, horrible hallway feel. Like in a crappy apartment somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's I thought that was ideal. Go to the range and buy their shit.
Doctor's office.
Hey.
Well.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's not too bad. The only problem is if you look at the picture, you can see that it runs into Scully's apartment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I you know what? I wasn't going to fuck about it. I tried spending ages trying to get it on moving it over and then having a different. You know, I just thought, no, you're not going to focus on it.
That is fine. I mean, some apartment places, buildings are like that, where it just continues on in, so it's no issue. That's what I did. Like, until you mentioned it, I didn't even realise that. Yeah, go and ruin the surprise. Ruin it for me, Carl. They ruin the illusion.
It's one of those stupid things that when you take the picture or you're a photographer and you notice something, it's just both my shots.
Yeah,
the only thing I can see.
Yeah, that is one thing. You notice it, but probably no one else does. It went unnoticed, mate. Trust me, I didn't know at all.
Yeah.
So scrolling up, so yeah, the examples of inside of a diet, and let's show you one of Tom's, and it's your Spider-Man, the dreaded Mayfix Spider-Man, your worst mortal enemy.
I almost didn't put the shot up just because I hate that figure so much.
I may have gone sideways. My whole phone's just decided to. Oh, come on.
The guitar though, it hit the stand really well, didn't it?
Yeah, that shows how an accessory can kind of make a shot.
It's a good example, like that.
I thought the guitar was just there purely. The stand's wedged underneath the sofa and then comes up behind the guitar and into his leg. So
I'm glad you said into his leg.
Yeah. So it's all about just hiding the stands, basically, but still make it believable.
Make that deranged interior, didn't you?
Yeah. Again, that was quite an easy dio, in fairness. Bar the wooden floor, it was pretty much just cut the window out, cut a door in, and then I made the wallpaper on Photoshop and just printed it out and stuck it onto foam, basically. So that was probably the quickest dio I've ever made in my life. I think, it's about an hour and a half. And there was a whole dio there, so it worked out well. I mean, I had the wood floor anyway, because I've got one piece of wood floor that I use for a variety of different bits.
Yeah.
So, it's just an easy dio shot that worked out pretty well for the odd dio shots that I get to do now.
No, it does, mate. It worked out really well. The green just gives off that deranged, nasty look, bugging down apartment. So, yeah, I've lost my messaging board with all the pictures on it. So, what's the next one of yours? Do you have another one with a dio?
No, I think we're onto yours. Which would probably be the Deadpool shot in the office.
That's it. Yeah, it's your apartment dio that you made me, and I'd sort of expanded the apartment to make it bigger. So it's just one room. So yeah, this was my final entry for the Photo Combat 3 tournament. This was semi-final entry, and yeah, the idea behind this was the was it Universes Collide? No, it wasn't Universes Collide. It was the What If. So the idea with this one is the Cable and Deadpool gone back in time to when Stan Lee was at Timely Comics, just his first sort of role in the comic industry, and he's presenting the idea of Green Lantern to Stan Lee, trying to snipe it from DC. So I thought that was a funny little tidbit. But yeah, so I got the whole interior, and I printed out all of the little Timely Comic books and the Timely Comic symbol. And yeah, I just had the Agent Coulson taken away from, I stripped off his jacket and I painted his arms white so he looked like he was in a white shirt, stuck some glasses on him. Because when Stan Lee was young and didn't have a mustache, he looked extremely a lot like Clark Gregg. It's quite scary. And yeah, so I did a wire ring with some polyester around it and some blue tissue paper, hit it with some light to make it look like some sort of portal, and yeah, so they're coming through the portal, and yeah, so just like a Timely Comics office. That's what really it was going for. But yeah, just utilizing the hell out of your apartment, which is that he built, which is really, really good.
No, it came out nice. That was a great shot.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. This one that it came out exactly how I wanted it in my head. For the most part, and that that I was extremely happy with, because there's quite a few shots in that tournament, but I'd submitted them. I thought, oh fuck it, I really weren't happy with that. But this one I was really, really, really pleased with. Yeah, it's just one example of what you can do with a dio that's not, you can just expand upon it.
This is it. Definitely. And then I think there's another good example is actually your next shot, which is the aliens in the corridor with Ripley shooting them with the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, using my space wall. Yeah.
Which I think was my favourite entry of yours from Photo Combat and the whole thing. I think that was fantastic.
2 weeks of setting up. I've actually got, I think, the space walk gantry is up there somewhere. Yeah, so that was the space wall, and I just had a shitload of lights underneath it, and yeah, trying to get all those aliens in position without falling over, which they did.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that looked like a mission.
Oh, it was start to finish. Yeah, 2 weeks buying it all and then setting the whole thing up, test shot after test shot. Yeah, and I was really pleased with that when it came out. It was quite, I think it was the most I'd ever worked on a shot, was that one, and that was only for the second entry, just to get in. But yeah, so that one, just again utilising just the one wall, just the angle, and the flooring, and because the flooring was a grate and it was elevated, I could have a bunch of lights underneath, which was handy as hell to light up so I had yellow lights underneath lighting up the flame, and the other fire bits. I had a strip LED going along the side of the wall to light that up. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And just the ceiling I'd made from just some floppy foam and cut some grates in it. Laid, I think there was it's like a roll of grate tape. It's like a mesh tape, and I just made that. Hit it with some lights, so just like some overhead lights, and then pop through a lot of the finger lights, which I have. So I wanted to get into, which are here. When you get into lighting, finger lights. So I had a box of these from Amazon. You get hundreds, and you get blue, green, white, and red. And yeah, and they just do. And I had a few of the white ones I just inserted through the top, so it just looked like spotlights coming through. And yeah, so something. Again, one of the shots where I had in my head, and it did turn out the way I wanted it to. And yeah, really, really pleased with it. Annoyingly, though, I think Yes, I did shoot that with the camera. I'm trying to think whether I shot that with my phone or it was my camera. But yeah, it was hard trying to find a one where it was really, really crisp. Nighttime shots are always hard to try and get crisp focus on without it being a little bit grainy from trying to suck in all the light. But yeah, so yeah, there we go. There's a load of examples there of dio usage, and
that's really good.
Plain poster usage, plain backdrop, and printouts. And there's just so much more you can do. You know, going off what you've just seen here, you know, your possibilities are endless. And even with digital screens, you know, people try and blend, and it's a difficult thing to do, blend when you have an image on a TV and then set up a shot in front of that. Fair play to those who nail it, because it's very hard to get that blend, especially with the lighting. Sometimes it can come off really, really obvious. But you know, that is another option if you've got a big enough TV and you can set up a work area in front of it. And yeah, if it's smart TV, put up an image and try and get that blend without it looking all, you know, when you try and take a picture of a computer screen, it get all the lines come through. Yeah, very, very difficult. But yeah, tons of different options to just fill your set. Anything else you wanted to touch upon at all? Oh,
no, I think we've covered the basics pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if there's any questions or anything like that, people can always hit us up in the comments anyway.
Yeah, sure.
You'll be fine, okay?
Yeah.
Comments recently, though?
Yeah, we've had some. Come through.
2 fucking comments? That's not bad.
Yeah.
Rock stars, aren't we?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Well, we are. You're like the little drummer in the background that no one knows, but, you know.
Harsh.
Yeah. Just backing vocals with that accent of yours.
You fucking wish you had accent.
Oh, get all the ladies, I will.
Well, gotta be interesting.
Okay, so that's covered everything, really. Yeah, so just drop us comments if you have any questions. I think the next phase, what else we got to cover?
Posing, probably next.
Posing, yes. We're going to dynamic posing, and yeah,
we can talk about hiding the stands and things like that through that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sure, definitely things we can do. We touched upon a little bit of elevation with the glass technique. We can go further into it, and yeah, flight stand hiding, dynamic posing, for anything, just from the simplest way of getting a walking shot, and then to a full blown martial art move or some sort of somersault, all kinds, and knowing the limits of the figure you're using at the time. And then we'll try and set up a shot, going over everything we've done, and present you on the next one as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
That'd be the challenge. Okay, righty. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I hope it was informative as well as entertaining as Tom's voices and Carl's voice and Shiny Head. Look at them. How dare you not be entertained by the fucking glorious faces we have here when they're in and not bloody failing internet and jumping out again? And Carl, we can hear him and he gets better internet connection.
That's it.
It reminds me of Wayne's World when he's ordering food at the fucking drive-thru. Love it. Anyway, guys, thanks again for tuning in. So let's go into the where can we find you on the lovely interwebs. Thomas, hit us with your deets.
I'm on Instagram at Toyota2 and Tom's Dioramas. Take your pick, or follow them both if you want. Make my day. And I'm on Facebook at Tom's Dioramas, so check me out there as well.
Yep, he's also a panelist.
My ego a boost.
Yeah, hit them all. And he's also a panelist on the Infinite Articulation podcast over on YouTube. And they
every Sunday night, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Sunday night. Tune in, hear that beautiful voice of his. And Carlos, where can they find you, my man?
They can find me on Facebook and Instagram on plastic_action, or they can find me on the Plastic UK, or they can find me most
And if you didn't catch any of that, that's plastic_action. All the details will come up on the screen also. And you can find me at Project Piper Customs on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. And in the various different Facebook groups like Toy Comics Inc., ACBA, and some others that I've probably feel bad for not mentioning. But yes, and also check out the Plastic Action UK website. Link will be in the description. You'll see it come up on screen now. And more tips and tricks will be over there, along with plenty of examples of toy art, ours, and from the community too. And please use the hashtag Plastic Action UK on Instagram, and we'll feature some of your shots on our weekly, maybe even fortnightly, depending on how full the pot is on YouTube. So definitely hit all those up. And thanks again for watching, guys. And we out of here. Plastic Action out. Take care, guys.
Bye, mate.
See you later. Please be sure to visit Toy Trash, one of the best online UK toy retailers, especially for imports. With free shipping in the UK, there's no reason why you shouldn't head on over there, say hello to Cam for us, and start stuffing that digital basket with lots of deals. www.toytrash.co.uk, founded by collectors for collectors.